Hi, this is Steffy and welcome to the FinancialFox. Today on the show, I have Nicolas Maselli, CTO of the Ape Society, a collection of 7,000 unique NFTs generated on the Cardano blockchain. So many of you requested to discuss more of a project on the Cardano blockchain, and that's what I'm doing. So I pick up one of the top NFT project on Cardano, which is Ape Society. I mean, I don't know why everybody is obsessed with ape, but that's what also was something that we are going to find out. And I discussed it with Nic about what's happening, what's up on the Cardano blockchain. So I hope you enjoyed the interview because I really did. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, click the subscribe button now and follow us on social media to stay up to date with our news and interviews. And also, Nic is telling why he thinks that AI and blockchain are going to be working very well together. Before we get into the interview, let's take a moment to talk about our sponsor, EMG. EMG is a Web3 telecom super app that aims to be the first to revolutionize the way you interact with digital assets on your smartphone. Instead of switching between multiple apps, you just need to download one. The all-in-one EMG super app is your one-stop destination for instant messaging, video calls, e-commerce, travel, money transfer, and many other exciting features. So with EMG app, you can stay connected with your loved one, send money, pay your bills, book a taxi, shop the latest product, and even build your own digital store, all in one place. Can it be the next WeChat or Amazon? Well, watch this space. Hi, Nic, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing very well. Nice to meet you again.
Yeah, brilliant to have you on the show. It's been a while that I wanted to do this episode and discuss, everything Cardano NFT. And obviously, you are with Ape Society, which is a very interesting project from, apes, all apes. They are all very successful, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay, so let's maybe start with a quick introduction. So tell us about yourself. How did you go in crypto, in NFT specifically? And then we can get a little bit into more the nitty-gritty of your project. Yeah,
so I'm Nic. So I got into crypto in 2016, so super long time ago. But I didn't really buy too much. I just kind of dabbled in it very sparingly. And then didn't really get into it super hard until NFTs, really. And it wasn't even during kind of the initial NFT boom. It was more towards the later half where I was just kind of well, what's this technology? A lot of people are memeing it online, saying the right click save thing. And then I was like, okay, let me just kind of dig into this and see what it's about. And then, I bought my first NFT and I was like, okay, I kind of understand where this is going. The collectability, you've got the digital scarcity, you've got the community aspect of it. So I kind of understood where it was going. And then from there, I built an NFT creation platform on Cardano because the existing tools were not very good. And then there was a lot of problems with the previous version of Cardano NFTs, where they're static, they couldn't be read in smart contracts. So then we developed a system to do the new standard of Cardano NFTs, and that's kind of what we're on right now. And then basically that's how the apes took notice. And then now I am with the Ape Society.
And then boom, exactly.
Yes.
So let's take a step back before we get into the Ape Society. I wanted to talk about Cardano NFTs because I think it's important to explain, first of all, what is the unique thing about Cardano NFT and also the evolution of Cardano NFTs. So now you can say that actually there is a very vibrant ecosystem of NFT projects on Cardano because there are lots of misunderstanding. The major brands, they are all on Polygon and Ethereum, and the Cardano ecosystem is kind of okay, I'm not really sure the tech works. There is something wrong there. Things, there are no use case. They always come late to the party. Let's kind of demystify everything about, the Cardano ecosystem.
Yeah, so a lot of that was true in the past, but it's slowly starting to change for a variety of reasons I'll get to. But basically how NFTs work on Ethereum, for example, is they're all smart contracts. They're all actually these scripts, and then your wallet has the right to move the NFT around the script, essentially. That's kind of how the traditional NFTs work on Ethereum or Solana or something. Cardano is very different. Cardano has something called the native assets. So when you have an NFT, it's actually in your wallet. It's a token in your actual wallet. So you've got your ADA token, and you've got maybe your Sunday Swap token and your Ape Society token, but then you've got your NFTs, and they're actually tokens in your wallet as well. So now all of the wallets natively know what's actually in your wallet. You don't need to use things like any type of OpenSea Cash, or you don't need to look at all of these different scripts on the chain to know what's in your wallet. So that's the first really nice advantage of Cardano NFTs. The second thing that's really nice is that Cardano uses something called stable fees. So whereas Ethereum, you have these crazy fee markets where some of these fees can get extremely high, and it's often very difficult to kind of make some trades on Ethereum because of the gas spikes and things like that. Cardano's fees are based on the size of the transaction. So essentially, you always know what the fee will be based on a deterministic transaction size. So you always know it's going to be some number, and usually it's a lot lower than Ethereum at this point in time. But then also something that's really nice is that Cardano is a deterministic blockchain. And this is something that's maybe a little bit more in the weeds of the tech, but I think it's going to be very important moving into the future, because you look at what's happening a lot on ETH, where you get the problem where you don't know if a transaction will fail or succeed. You lose the gas. There's quite a few hacks on with smart contracts on Ethereum. It's more difficult to guarantee that your contract's going to work. Because Cardano is deterministic, you can basically test all avenues of a smart contract, or you could test all avenues of a transaction and know for a fact that it will never change, or that it's going to work. So that's actually really nice from a security perspective. And then when I was hearing this, one of my thoughts was that in terms of user adoption, it would be more likely that people would want to adopt a blockchain that is more secure, given that there's a lot of hacks in the ecosystem. That's kind of what led me on to Cardano in the beginning. But specifically on the NFTs on Cardano actually came out before smart contracts, because the NFTs are not smart contracts themselves. And this was okay, but it also led to a couple problems. So like I mentioned before, the NFTs actually in your wallet, but because they came out before smart contracts, they actually can't be read in smart contracts. The metadata, at least. The name can be, but the metadata cannot be read. And this is a major problem that, in my opinion, has plagued Cardano NFTs for a very long time, because you couldn't really do anything interesting with them. If you wanted to do something fancy, some sort of like crypto game or gamified ecosystem, you really could not do it with Cardano NFTs. It was very janky to get things kind of working. If you wanted to update metadata or fuse NFTs or anything, you couldn't do it. It was just not really all that possible. And that's why there was a standard that came out by the founder of SpaceBuds, that was the first project, the first 10K collection on Cardano. And it basically was a way of making these Cardano NFTs more dynamic. They can get the same functionality as Ethereum NFTs, but you get the safety of Cardano NFTs, meaning the NFTs in your wallet. It's not going to be drained if you connect to a sketchy site or something like that. And so when he came out with that, I was super excited, but nobody really cared, actually. For over 8 months, there was no minting platform or no marketplace that even supported the standard, which I thought was crazy, because it's just so much more powerful. The new standard was so much more powerful because you get the security of Cardano, which is, people do, even the broader crypto ecosystems does acknowledge that, yes, Cardano has fantastic security, even though they kind of meme it with some of the functionality. But now the NFTs can have the security of Cardano NFTs and the functionality of ETH. So I thought that was a no-brainer. So when we developed this minting platform to do all of it and also get all this programmability, then people started to take notice, because they're like, oh, actually, you could do so much stuff. And then the Ape Society was one of the first projects to say, hey, how do we use this to really provide value to our holders? And we minted our passport, their passport project with it. And they were so happy with it. They're like, hey, why don't you come on board?
Okay, so when you're talking about metadata, are you referring to policy ID?
No. So the policy ID is, so I guess I'll give a brief overview of how Cardano NFTs work. So Cardano NFTs can be under a policy ID. So think of this as like a script hash. So it's a 56 hex character number, and you can have 10,000 NFTs that are all under this policy ID. So all of these NFTs are associated with this collection. It's basically a collection ID. And then every individual name is, the individual NFT within that collection. So that's the policy ID. That can be read in smart contracts. So that was why we could do basic stuff like simple buy, sell transactions and things like that. But the metadata, you couldn't. So let's say, for example, the Ape Society, The Ape Society has a craftsman class, or an artist class is a better example. The artist class, you can buy frames and things like that. You can upgrade your frames, and it gives you kind of this more artistic functionality. Well, we actually can't read that piece of data in smart contracts because it was on a previous standard, which is limiting. You can't do too much with smart contracts with NFTs as a result. So the apes are like, okay, we'll do this passport, so now they can have this data that's readable in smart contracts. So with the passports, for example, if you interact with some business that the Ape Society has created, we're calling them landmarks, then you can upgrade your NFT to say, okay, you've interacted with this landmark, you get more XP or you get a higher stamp level, and you get rewards and discounts and things like that as a result. And we can actually read that data in the smart contract.
So that is basically what you tweeted on the 30th of January about the dynamic.
Yes, that is my pinned tweet, because no one's done it before. And there were so many minting platforms on Cardano that were like far more way further ahead of us. And one of my biggest criticisms of Cardano in general is that I think there's a lot of complacency in the space, a ton of complacency. And I think there's kind of this mantra. So Cardano was slow and steady at the beginning, 2017. It took a long time to get smart contracts. And I think that was the correct move because they had a really good core base. When you're building a skyscraper, you want to make sure your core foundation is really good. But now we should be off to the races because now we have all of the tech. We have a really nice smart contract language in Icon now. Plutus, basically no one uses anymore because it's so convoluted. But Icon is basically Rust, which is another kind of thing that's going to explode the ecosystem. So now we should be off to the races. And then even with all that, a lot of Cardano projects were very complacent. There was very little innovation, very little will to do any innovation. Like the #1 marketplace on Cardano still has like a collateral feature that's like very cumbersome for users. So it's been my biggest criticism, but the Ape Society was always like, hey, let's try to use the most up-to-date technology to really kind of push the space forward, which is very attractive. And so that's kind of how we've gotten to this point where on January 30th, I launched this, even though no one really even knew about our minting platform. Now we're very, very popular and in the limelight because we're genuinely pushing the space forward beyond what people thought was possible.
So that's great. So let's say that we need more more people to come into the Cardano ecosystem for NFT. In terms of like all the tools, all the functionality that you need. You mentioned marketplaces. You mentioned about minting platform. What do we have there that people can use? So if I'm a project, right, I need to decide, should I launch on Polygon? Should I launch on Cardano? Yeah. If I launch on Cardano, what should I think? Where should I look? Who should I have a partnership with? Just give me some names so we can kind of build this ecosystem.
Well, I'll use this opportunity to show my created platform. So basically, I created Saturn, which is a Saturn NFT IO, which is an NFT minting platform for Cardano. And it does the previous version as well, but we really focus on the new dynamic NFT standard. So we do, the full NFT minting. So if you have a project, you want to mint a 10K collection, for example, you could do the full minting on the new standard. But along with that, it's not just minting, because I think that's a very, very shallow relationship with the project. We actually do a lot more. So when projects mint, not only do we give them access to, the minting platform, but then also any type of upgrade system. If they're building a game, want to do level ups or something like that. Maybe they want a customization engine. They want to like customize their traits, have people sell rare traits that are time locked or things like that. So basically allowing projects to make more revenue over time rather than just kind of one mint. So that's what we're really focused on. And we'll be launching a couple features in the next couple months that really take advantage of some of this more dynamic NFTs type of stuff. I remember in December, I watched a video by CoffeeZilla. It was talking about the Logan Paul crypto zoo fiasco. And my thought was like, Logan Paul was saying that, it would cost millions of dollars to make this game, or $1 million or something like that. And my thought process is like, okay, well, if we can make something like that buildable on Cardano for very cheap, then people can really run with it in terms of making more sophisticated experiences in Web3. So that's basically what we're focused on with Saturn, giving projects the tools to do all of this complicated stuff in a really nice, simple interface. So that's the Saturn
great.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay, great. So other platform that, I mean, I did an interview with JPEG Store, so we know they exist as well. NFT Maker, I think, is another one.
Yep.
Do you have any other, do you know any other project that you think would be quite helpful, maybe for trade or for, anything NFT? Because I think there is also a place where people can find information about NFT project, right?
Yeah, there's a couple things like CNFT Tools has some nice tools where you could see like rarities and things like that. Another competitor marketplace would be like PlutusArt. Those guys have always been very nice to me. I was very impressed when we launched our new standard. One of the problems was JPEG Store didn't support the new standard. And so that's kind of why some people didn't really create it, because, if JPEG doesn't support it, they're the #1 marketplace, why bother it? But my thought process was like, no, we have to launch because like if we just leave it at status quo, the broader crypto ecosystem would be right. They'll be like, why would anyone care about Cardano? You can't do anything with it. Why would they care? So we launched this, and the founder of PlutusArt, their marketplace is still kind of growing. It's still really small. But they were like, hey, like we'll support the new standard right away. And they basically supported it within like 2 days of us launching. And they took a lot of market share from JPEG on just those SIP68, the new standard NFTs. And that kind of got the ball rolling. Then JPEG was basically forced to support it. And some other marketplaces are doing. So there's definitely a couple of other projects out there. But we're really trying to push the ball with the new standard. And then, obviously with the Ape Society, we're leveraging this new standard to do a lot more crazy functionality that will be launched soon.
Quick break and back to our sponsors. The EMG SuperApp include an NFT marketplace and a selection of e-games that helps you to earn as you play. EMG partners with Polygon, which makes the transaction super affordable, and it is powered by EMG Coin, a utility token that used to facilitate transaction within the app. Spending in the Super App get you rewards and access to exclusive deals. EMG is funded and supported by a Melody Group, which has been providing technology services to the world's largest telecommunication company and partnering with household names for over 20 years. The group employs over 20 highly experienced software engineers, and it has millions of active users worldwide. EMG is revolutionizing the global network of communication infrastructures. And if you like to find out more, the links are in the description. Okay, talk to me about the Ape Society, because the Apes has been, the biggest success of NFT, the OG of NFT. I mean, we let's not mention the CryptoPunks, but still the Ape, the Bored Ape, big project now has come to Cardano with the Ape Society. So I want to understand why the ape again. What's about the ape? So exciting.
People love apes. No, I think for this project in particular, I think the really big limiting factor with this project is they were just extremely dedicated to building like an actual community, an actual Web3 community that would go out and promote and brand them and provide value in a recursive way. So the community involved with it is extremely dedicated. I mean, like, it is unbelievable. Like, if there's a business, they'll check out everyone's businesses. They'll be on basically every Twitter space. I mean, it is quite crazy. They're just everywhere in terms of their dedication to the project. And one of the things that the Ape Society has done very well that I am baffled that no other project has done yet is that they've kept people coming back. And this is kind of the thing that made me excited about them, back in I don't know, like September or August or something, is that there was just, they just kept reasons for you to come back. So basically they launched their staking system, but it wasn't just your typical staking system, whatever. It was like, okay, you could do this, then you have your craftsman ape that could build items and things like that. And it was kind of this like gamified ecosystem, which I thought was pretty cool. And some people made fun of it at the time, but I was like, wait a minute, no. That if you keep people coming back and you keep people engaged with the project, that's a ton that's extremely valuable. So that was what really kind of tipped me off that there's something kind of special going on here. And Then, when we launched, the new standard, they were one of the first people to say, hey, like, let's use it to provide more value to our holders and really try to like boost the ecosystem. And that was even more impressive because, there was a lot of people that were afraid to kind of dip their toes into the new standard, and they were kind of right on it. And so that's why I'm extremely bullish on the team. And then I'm extremely bullish on some of the projects that we're working on, because we're going to push this chain forward, kicking or screaming. A lot of people, my early kind of criticism was that a lot of projects were very complacent. You didn't see a lot of people changing, like some marketplaces not having features that are basically required. The Ape Society was the exact opposite. It was like, no, we're going to launch this. We're going to do this crazy thing. We're going to do this really cool merch system. Like there's a merch system where you have to craft the items for your merch. You have to combine the NFTs, and then you could get this really nice deck of cards. We're building the Web3 Country Club, and it's all this nice branding. The deck of cards is like a poker deck you would have if you're sitting in a cigar lounge or something. So it's all branded very well. They're doing things in a very unorthodox way, but they're doing it very fast. Like some things are going to fail. Some projects and things are not going to land, but they're just doing so many of them constantly and super aggressive with cool new features and gamified ecosystem and branding and bringing value to the holders that a lot of them are going to succeed too. And it was just very attractive seeing a project that was just that was moving very fast on the chain, because typically that was not the case with Cardano.
So tell me a little bit more about what's the point of the Ape Society. You mentioned about the country club, so I want you to just go a little bit deeper into that. And also tell me a bit about the different kind of apes and the different kind of utility of the NFT as well. You have got a token as well, I think, which is... So just unfold a little bit more about the project.
Yeah, so I've only been the CTO for like a week, so I'm not super versed on everything. A lot of the stuff that the team, they've done a really good job. A lot of that stuff is all that's already like set and done in a lot of things. But I can kind of tell you the stuff that I know about it. I'm still kind of getting up to speed myself, but basically you've got this Web3 Country Club. It's basically this NFT community. And it's a community that's really fostering relationships. I don't want to say like in the real world, but it really is a community, an actual country club. It feels like, because you've got your people building businesses on it. You've got your whales that are always supportive and trying to get people into the space, that are always trying to look at other chains, for example, and saying, hey, like we're doing something really cool over here. Why don't you come join and check it out and things like that. But basically now you have this token which they've introduced. And this token is pretty cool because what you do with it is you just interact with the ecosystem through this token. So you've got maybe, for example, you want to upgrade your frames, for example. Like let's say you have your cabin and you want to upgrade your frame that you have the ape listed in. You have to pay in the token, and that upgrades the NFT. And now with that upgrade, you get more functionality. Maybe you get special roles in the Discord server, or you get a discount on merchandise, like real world merchandise. And it's all kind of in this gamified way. Like if you spend the token and you've upgraded your frame, that frame gives you, let's say you have an artist ape, and the artist ape is creating the cards for the deck of cards. You do it like 2 times faster. So for the apes, what they've done is there's only 500 of these deck of cards. So the first 500 people to like complete the crafting and the artistry and combine the NFT, they get the deck of cards. So if you've upgraded the frames, you do this faster, and then you get the deck of cards. It's just a very interesting way of doing merch that keeps people coming back, keeps people talking about the brand, and then there's all this other stuff. So that's kind of what the purpose of the tokens for. It's kind of the glue that holds everything together with the ecosystem. And then each ape has their own role. So you've got the craftsmen, they build things. The artists, they kind of design things. You've got the explorers. We don't know what they do yet, but I like the kind of the thematic idea. Then you have like the military officers, and they steal other people's. It's very silly in this way, but it works. It's very funny. It's all kind of gamified. People are trying to min-max the value. And what's cool is that you've got something for everyone there. If someone wants to go hardcore in this kind of, in the game and, min-max and optimize, you can. But then maybe someone just kind of wants to check it once every 2 weeks. Like, oh, my ape crafted a cool item. All right, let's start another craft and, continue on our way. So there's something for everyone at the Ape Society. That's why I think that, combined with their just complete obsession with providing new experiences to holders, I think that's going to make them very successful, even on a chain that has been a little bit slower to move.
What's about the staking?
Yeah. So what they've done is that you basically have. So I think one of the memes of it early was they did their token launch. This was all the way back in September, a super long time ago. And basically, when you had this initial staking, a lot of the supply went out early. And a lot of the supply went out early. And I think this kind of makes sense. A lot of people were memeing on this because they were like, oh, it's like Ponzonomics and all that. And I didn't see it at the time. I mean, that I don't even know if I had an ape at that time, actually. I think I bought it a little bit later. But a lot of people were making fun of it. But I thought it differently because one of the problems in crypto, and I've seen this in Cardano a lot, but I think I've seen this on other chains as well, is that let's say someone launches a token, and you could do whatever you want. It's a gaming token or it's a utility token or something. And they'll release like 10% of the supply, and then the other like 90%, maybe 20% is for the founders, and then the 70% gets distributed over time. But what you see on all these dexes then is that over time the token just inflates and the price just crashes very, very quickly. And so you get this situation. It's like, why am I going to hold this token if there's going to be millions more that are printed over the course of the next 2 years, and the price is just going to guaranteed go down? I'd rather buy it later. So the apes kind of did the opposite, which is basically get a lot of the max supply out as quickly as possible so that you don't have this like unstable pricing you're trying. I'm not exactly sure what the thought process was, but this is kind of the way I've rationalized it. So now it's basically, a lot more stable. I think of it kind of like, this is the way I think it's like RuneScape gold. Like you've got RuneScape gold, and you buy the items with it and everything like that. And I guess RuneScape gold's inflated over time, but now it's a little bit more stable. So it's basically kind of this ecosystem token that you use for utility within it. Like you could do things like lock up a certain amount to get like a discount on a DApp or something like that. So there's some cool ideas that have been thrown around.
Okay, brilliant. So I see you are so excited about the project, which is great. I know that you just joined. I mean, you joined not a long time ago, but it's great to see all the energy that you have got. Is there anything else that you are excited about, you're working towards, and you want to kind of give us some hint to what is going to happen?
Yeah, I posted actually on Twitter yesterday that I think people are underestimating what's going to happen to Cardano very soon. So obviously I'm with the Ape Society now, but very bullish on the SpaceBuds project as well, because they're really pushing the tech forward. I think if there's another project that has not been complacent, it's them. And I think you're seeing now this kind of culmination of like over 2 years of work with the smart contract era. So you've got your the SIP68, this new standard of NFTs. It could do all this crazy stuff. And now we just last week, there was the alpha launch of this programming language called Icon for Cardano. So it's not Plutus anymore. I know people know about Haskell, Plutus, but Icon is not that. Icon is not Haskell. It's not Plutus. It's basically Rust. So you can now basically code Cardano smart contracts in Rust. So pretty much how, I guess Solana would do it or other things, but you still get this really nice security guarantee where you could test the whole contract and you can see the security vulnerabilities basically in real time. And so to give an example, I wrote a smart contract very recently. I'm not going to say what it is, but it is for the Ape Society. And the contract was pretty intense. I mean, it was pretty advanced. There was a lot of stuff going on. And I could say for certain that if this was done in Plutus, it would have taken me 2-3 months for sure. It would have taken me an extremely long time. It would have been very difficult to test. Did you
use ChatGPT?
No, not yet. No, that's even more because ChatGPT has a 2021 lock date. So for all of the stuff I can use ChatGPT for, I do. But because the new language came out last week, I didn't have time to do it. And they don't have ChatGPT browsing yet. But within 1 week of not even having learned the language, I've never used Rust before, I was able to complete this entire smart contract in under a week. And it's quite advanced. And we have the whole testing thing. It's being audited right now. And it's pretty crazy. So I think I made a post yesterday. I think the broader crypto ecosystem is underestimating Cardano. I definitely think that's true. I think you're going to see a ton of dApps exploding on Cardano now because of just how much easier it is to make them with the same security guarantees. And now we have the new standard of NFT where we could do all this dynamic programmability. If other people don't create crazy dApps, I will. So there's going to be a lot more exciting things happening on Cardano.
I love it. I think you are just so excited. Let's get this booming. Brilliant.
Yes.
listen, if people don't know about you, or where should they go? What can they find?
You can find me at the Avatar Nick on Twitter. So my picture right now is a little blob. I might change that to an ape very soon. Maybe when I release the first app, we'll change it so we get more hype and excitement. But yeah, I'm extremely excited about the future of Cardano, the apes as well. And I think it's good for the broader crypto ecosystem. I know we kind of get into this kind of tribalism type of thing. But I think what you're going to see is you're going to see a lot of the top chains still continue to remain the top chains. And then I think Cardano is going to go up. But I think everything is going to go up along with it. I think people are going to be really excited for more of this decentralized finance and things that are coming out. And kind of on a last note, just kind of on a pivot, I know we've seen obviously AI be super hype in the last couple months and everything. And I actually think that crypto and AI go super well together. And here's why, is just kind of a last send off, is that you're going to have the situation where you've got these auto GPT agents, this kind of big repo that's been, blowing up on the internet. Doesn't really work very well right now. I think it's very overhyped. But I'm like, once those are working super well, these agents are going to have to make financial transactions on the internet. And they're not going to KYC into a credit card to do that. It's much easier for one of these agents in AI to use a simple 24-word seed phrase to keep track of their assets. And you're going to have a situation where a lot of websites are going to be, auto GPT compliant. So you're going to have this situation where AI is going to be very capable of making financial transactions using crypto. So I think you're going to see a strong push for websites and e-commerce sites adopting crypto in the future, because even though it's more difficult for humans to use, not the case for robots. So I suspect we're going to see that over the course of the next 3 years.
Fantastic, Nick.
Yes.
That's a super cool insight. And listen, I want to have you back on the show to talk more about the Cardano ecosystem just going bonkers, and then we can talk a little bit more about AI as well. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Nick.
Of course, always a pleasure.